In a darkish and eerie cave, a mysterious sniper named Dress waits in silence her goal, the president who unknowingly steps off his aircraft most effective to be taken down in unmarried specific shot. This isn't simply any murderer clothes a cold-blooded killer with the haunting beyond. After her task, she visits her overdue mother's grave, most effective to discover her father waiting. However, their reunion is some distance from heat. He well-known shows he is aware of a reality that she's a sniper and drops every other bombshell. He is terminally unwell and plans to stop his existence on Valentine's Day. Bowled over and heartbroken, Dress is left grappling with the burden of her double existence. Meanwhile, Lee, a former sniper haunted through nightmares, is pulled right into a deadly task. Drugged and flown to an unknown region, he reveals himself stationed at a mysterious watchtower guarding a deep, terrifying abyss referred to as the Gorge. However, what lurks beneath isn't always human, it's something some distance worse. Throughout from Levy's tower is every other sniper put up wherein Dress is stationed. Even though forbidden from speaking, destiny brings them together. Main two and surprising bond. However, as their emotions develop, so does the danger. Whilst mammoth creatures upward thrust from the abyss, they need to combat facet through facet to live on, because the reality at the back of the Gorge unravels. Levi and Dress find a categorized Navy test gone horribly incorrect. The inflamed soldiers from a long time in the past are nonetheless alive, however no longer human. Their most effective manner out-destroy the abyss earlier than it consumes them in a race towards time, betrayal and scary creatures. The very last battle unfolds in a fiery explosion. Levy disappears, presumed useless, leaving Dress devastated. However, simply whilst all desire seems misplaced, he returns alive. Their story would not result in tragedy, however. In a new starting deep inside an remoted and categorized area lay an abyss, a chasm referred to as Gorge. Even though reputedly simply a pit, it hid something some distance more terrifying. Levy, a soldier deployed to protect the location, remained ignorant of the actual reason of his task. Puzzled, he became to JD, his advanced, and asked, "Am I right here to save you human beings from getting near Gorge?" Shook his head. "No, your process is to stop something is internal Gorge from coming out without." Similarly, clarification. JD picked up a small explosive and tossed it into the abyss. A deafening explosion accompanied, and from the depths of the chasm an unearthly mammoth wail echoed into the night time. It changed into then that Levy understood something unspeakable lurked beneath. JD defined that those creatures had been referred to as loins a long time in the past. In 1943, whole Navy battalions had descended into Gorge to comprise the loins. However, none had ever gained handing Levi a stray canine alarm. JD warned, "If you ever listen this alarm burst off, do not think, simply run." I don't recognize why, however, that's what I turned into, advised. As JD completed speaking, their interest shifted to a nearby watchtower where a brand new officer had taken roll, changing the only who had finished his 112 months time period earlier than departing. JD confident Levi that he had sufficient components for 12 months, however may want to hunt if wanted. He additionally emphasized that this region had remained a classified mystery for 75 years and it need to stay that manner. With that, JD exited, signaling with a smoke flare. A helicopter arrived, however, as JD boarded. An officer demanded his identification earlier than all at once shooting him lifeless. Levi stood frozen, realizing simply how tightly guarded this mystery turned into. No person who left ever lived to inform the story. Left on my own, Levi accompanied protocol, loading his computerized rifle and surveying his environment. A month exceeded with none threats as required. He contacted command and reported no enemy touch this month. That turned into all he turned into allowed to mention, and he may want to only ship such messages as soon as a month. With time to spare, he started studying books saved with inside the barracks, in which he found messages left with the aid of using previous centuries detailing eerie and cryptic stories. Sooner or later, whilst scanning the horizon with the telescope, Levi observed any other watchtower internal sat a young girl. Get dressed, she turned into beautiful. However, Levi avoided making touch-knowing conversation with different watchtowers turned into strictly forbidden. Months exceeded, and quickly Get dressed to have become aware about Levi's presence on his birthday. She determined to smash the silence. Writing on a bit of paper she requested for his call, Levi hesitated, however in the end spoke back. The equal manner that second marked the starting in their silent friendship. One day Levi found out that Dress turned into a sniper. Curious, he determined to check her competencies with the aid of using focused on her components. Now no longer one to gain down, Dress picked up her sniper rifle and fired again. Touched down an excellent shot close to his tower, but as she aimed she observed something scary, creatures rising from the abyss. She quickly signaled to Levi, who straight away opened her place. The range of monsters turned into overwhelming, and Dress joined in firing from her tower. Amid the chaos, one beast, a gruesome half-human, one half-of-animal entity, crept up on Dress. She attempted to shoot, however her bullets had no impact. Simply as it lunged at her, Levi took the proper shot, saving her life. Styles decided to inspect. In addition, Levi ventured into the mines the following day. As he explored, a small drone all at once emerged from the depths and sped away. Each he and Dress noticed it, however had no concept what it turned into. As months exceeded and December arrived, Levi made an ambitious selection. He turned into going to meet Dress in individual. He tied a rope to the missile launcher slot of his RPG, making ready for something drastic. Seeing this, Dress watched in confusion, unaware of what Levi had deliberate. Subsequent, Levi secured the rope tightly and swung through a touchdown on the alternative facet where Dress eagerly awaited him. The rope mounted to a strong tree ensured his secure passage. Seeing him, Dress turned into beaten with pleasure. However, before embracing him she insisted he take a tub. Amused, Levi complied, unaware that Dress turned into secretly looking him through the CCTV cameras. Later on, the two engaged in deep verbal exchange. Dress interestingly asked, "What's the longest shot you have ever taken?" Levi, with a nostalgic glint in his eyes, replied, 3,240 meters lower back. Once I turned into with inside the Marines. Shifting the subject, Levi asked, "What's so unique approximately this area that it is kept pinnacle mystery?" Dress hesitated before responding, "Simply attention to your activity and do not overthink it," she stated, then shared a chunk approximately her father, who turned into probably now no longer alive. To lighten the temper, she performed a few songs and invited Levi to bounce. The two danced, their feelings intertwining as boundaries blurred and a deep connection shaped as they sat collectively. Levi mentioned, "I write poetry, I even wrote one for you." Intrigued, Dress advised him to recite it, however he shook his head, "Now no longer, but I will give it to you as soon as we get out of here." At sunrise, Levi determined to depart. However, as he made his manner, he observed gigantic creatures hiking his watchtower. The tower turned into rigged with mines, and the second they touched it, a massive explosion erupted. The rope Levi depended on burned away, and he plummeted into the deep abyss under. Looking from afar, Dress panicked. Without hesitation, she grabbed a parachute and leapt after him. The scene shifted to Dress struggling towards the river currents inside the gorge. She slightly controlled to attain the shore. In the meantime, Levi dangled from a tree, best to be attacked through a gigantic crab. The creature's effective pincers threatened to overwhelm him, however simply before it is able to. Dress arrived and stored him. Their remedy turned into short-lived as strange hollow mongoose riders on eerie horses descended upon them. However, instead of fleeing, Levi and Dress stood their floor taking down of their attackers at the same time as one controlled to escape. Analyzing a fallen Hollow Man, Levi observed something extraordinary. It wore a Navy uniform. Abruptly JD's words echoed in his thoughts. Years in the past, 3 battalions fell into this gorge and in no way lower back. The conclusion dispatched a kickback down his backbone. How had been they still alive? Venturing similarly, Levi undressed, stumbled upon a chilling sight. Human, our bodies intertwined with timber as if nature had claimed them. A deadly disease Levi suspected earlier than they might. Technique. The horror greater Hollow Men approached, forcing them to are trying to find shelter. And in vintage church internal an eerie silence loomed over a pile of duller bodies. Individuals who had selected loss of life over contamination. Abruptly a large spider, apparently mutated via way of means of the virus, lunged at them. After a fierce conflict, they controlled to kill it, only for the church doorways to burst open as Greater Hollow stormed in. Fleeing through the mountains, they stumbled upon an underground facility, an extended abandoned lab. Internal they discovered a backup generator and powered it on amid the dust-covered relics of a forgotten beyond. Discovered a DVD participant. After they performed the disc, a woman's face regarded at the display screen. This became a mystery undertaking. We had been developing a chemical missile, however. Then the earthquake occurred, the missile leaked, and that is while the entirety modified. The Navy neglected our warnings, and now I am inflamed. Lava and Dress exchanged a scary look. Digging similarly, they discovered statistics on an business enterprise called Dark Lab, a paramilitary institution. The usage of the inflamed as check topics to create extremely good squaddies. Levi clenched his fists. No, United States desires to spoil this place absolutely, due to the fact all of them need to use it. The revelation left them shaken. However, there has been no time to dwell. As they exited, a Hollow Man ambushed them and dragged Dress away. In spite of her struggles, she could not unfasten. Levi frantically looked for her. His path made him to a large missile, one of the very guns that had triggered this catastrophe. Close by, Dress became certain to a tree. Dealing with the Hollow Man, she pleaded with it to allow her cross, however it remained unresponsive. Taking topics into her own fingers, she freed herself and fought back simply because the war reached its top. Levi arrived and shot the Hollow Man dead. Inspecting its uniform, he iced up. This become as soon as a watchtower shield that they'd all end up. Hollow Man figuring out that they'd to break out earlier than it become too past due. Levi undressed, discovered an vintage automobile, changed its battery and rigged it to a rope for a brief getaway. However, simply as they began their ascent, and military of Hollow Man attacked. Walking out of bullets they sat, the creatures ablaze, and driven the automobile down the cliff, accomplishing the eastern tower. They feared contamination. The subsequent day, Levi climbed to his watchtower and contacted Barrow, who asked, "Did you enter the gorge?" Levi lied. No. Bartholomew, already suspicious, pretended to believe him. However, she had visible the CCTV footage. The subsequent morning she arrived at the gorge in a helicopter. Her challenge cleared. Do away with them. Levi undressed, sensing the approaching hazard flood into the woodland. Levi knew that if he crossed the 4.2 kilometers gorge, he ought to reunite with Dress on the alternative aspect. As alarms blared, a countdown commenced. 2 minutes till destruction. Bartholomew found out she had little time and ordered a retreat. Levi in the meantime precipitated the missile detonation collection. A large explosion engulfed the location, removing all Hollow Men and destroying Bartholomew's helicopter. Levi changed into thrown into the water with the aid of using the blast. Even as Dress barely survived for days, she waited. However, Levi by no means back. Heartbroken, she opened the poem he had written for her and read it. Tears streaming down her face. Time exceeded and she or he began out a brand new life, running at a small eating place. However, one day, simply as she conceived, she had moved on. Levi walked of their eyes met. A hurry of feelings surged among them without a phrase.